Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some dye jobs that I did on a couple of special knife handles. We're going to talk about a really special giveaway. I'll give you a hint. Mr. Dirk Pinkerton donated a knife to the show. So very much looking forward to that. He's going to give it away in person either next week or the week after that. And I'm going to show you a small knife-based multi-tool that I got at Walmart that is here to compete with the Swiss Army knife, with the Victorinox SD Classic. See what you think about that. It's maybe it's hard to tell without having it in hand. It's not bad. It's not bad for $11, but that's a spoiler. We'll get into that. I want to address a very important topic. It is the Buck 119 special. I got some stuff wrong recently, and I wanted to clear the air. Actually, I did so in a newsletter that I sent out. I think you need to check out the newsletter. It's a great way to just find out what's on my mind on a weekly basis. You get it every Sunday, and it's just a quick update. And it's actually not an update. It's some sort of story. It's always a story or some sort of knife idea here. But the idea behind this one was that I was talking out of school about the venerable Buck 119, and I was saying that it was originally a hunter's knife that was pressed into service by people who were using it. And I think I just conflated that with some of the other hunting knives with the stacked leather handles that were pressed into military use. This one was actually created in a bid for military adoption when the military put out what do they call that? A requisition request for proposal, an RIP. They needed combat knives to replace them, the very fragile. Well, just to codify it and get one knife basically. But they had the Marines had some knives. The Army, a lot of people were bringing their own knives, and they all needed something like the K-bar. Anyway, this was in the running for it, and then it got pressed into hunting duty when it wasn't picked up by the government. And I love this thing. So there you go. Check out the Knife Junkie newsletter at theknifejunkie.com/newsletter. I don't spam you. It's just once a week, and it's 3 paragraphs at most of some really, really pithy and deep, depthy knife talk. Just ask Jim. He edits them, and I know that he's in awe of the subject matter every week. I know I speak for Jim when I say that. Have a nice day. Nice to have you here, sir. I am on my way to an antiques firearm show. That sounds awesome. To go to the Antique Bowie Knife Club meeting. Oh my God. You're going to the forgive the French, but you're headed to a Bowie knife, an old Bowie knife meeting. That sounds tremendous. And also right up your alley. I hope you videotape. Pete Davidson, nice to have you here, sir. Also, drive safely. Pete Davidson, good to have you. Good evening, gentlemen. Well, good evening to you. It's a public holiday here and hot as Hades. Thanks, Bob, for the time you and the team put into the great banter with the community. Well, it is my pleasure. Pete, thank you for your time and attention coming here and joining the conversation. It's always fun. It's always a trip also, knowing that I'm speaking to one of my brothers from Australia. Australia is similar to the United States in some ways. I always feel like the spirits in the citizens are similar, and we both come from a roguish background, which I appreciate. So Pete, awesome to have you here. Going for a no matchy carry today, which is what I appreciate. Kaiser Splinter Titanium. That's a good knife. Spyderco Endura ZDP 189 with brass scales. Very nice. Midnight Mini Champ Sapphire Blue Mini Champ. Oh, okay. Mini Champ. That's the one that's got the little the pen in it, right? I think I have a Mini Champ. And the Cold Steel Persian Spike. Very nice. Hey, I got a spike on me right now. The Tonto Spike. This is a new generation. I know your spike is a first generation spike, but still, spikes are spikes, and they're sweet, and it's cold steel. Angelo, nice to have you here, sir. He says firework, and a salute. Good to have you here, man. Hope you're doing well, and hope everyone is recognizing that, yes, this is indeed the start of the weekend, and it's going to be a good one. I'm going to put this knife away and pull another one out. Dave, this old sword, nice to have you here, sir. Greetings, blade lovers. Happy Thursday night knives, he says. Here's one that I always pull out and then never open up and show you guys, but love the Prather War buoy. Chris, we have Blade Ogre with us. Chris, I was thinking of you this morning because by the time I left the house, my backpack was like 40 pounds, and I just had a bunch of knives in there. Some of them I'll show you today. Actually, my fixed blade today was one that I did not carry. Let me put it to you that way. But I was thinking of you because I think my knife count, including all the knives that live in my bag and the ones I put in there, was definitely at least 10. Speaking of 10 knives, we have 9 or more. Will be good to have you here. 9 or more. I mean, will be good to have you here, Will. Hey, junkies. I'm super tired. Not sure I'll make it through the entire show. Hey, Will. Hey, man. You know we'll always be here. You don't have to spend every minute. We'll be here when you're wide awake. But good to have you here on this fine evening. Hope you're carrying something cool. I know you are. Ket McNessart, good evening, all. He says, well, good evening to you, sir. Happy Thursday night knives. Well, happy Thursday night knives to you. I actually have the what do they call that? Jeez, the mountain. What is it? The Bark River knife, the buoy that you borrowed, the Shining Mountain buoy. There you go. Fernando Selame, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, knife junkies. Bob, Jim, love the company. Well, you yourself make this worth the while. As do you, James. Nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, knife junkies, he says. No doubt James is carrying something exquisite, something artful with really cool materials. Northern Knives, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, junkies, Jim and Bob. Well, it's good to have you here, man. Yeah, I spilled the beans on you last week. Sorry about that. Sword XXXY, good day. Well, Sword, good to have you here. Good day, Bob and junkies. Does that mean good day? Does that mean you're also in Australia and I'm just finding that out? Mattisfaction, nice to have you here, sir. I gotta say, every time I see you in my feed, I can't say I watch you every time, but I love your logo. It catches my eye each and every time. I love it. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Mike Flamian, nice to have you here. I know you're carrying something that looks something like this tonight, aren't you? Yes, I bet you are. Mr. Mike Flamian frequently carries a Randall-made knife, and I just think that is class personified. Finally, got the right. I don't know how to pronounce this, though. MEF PTI scale for my Fullard Spear Hinderer, and it's like a whole new knife. I know that there are more, way better knives, but at the moment, this is my newest toy. Well, Hinderers are really nice. And you know what? The spear point, which is not really a spear point, but the spear point model was the very first one that they came out with. Not the Fullard one, like you wrote here, but I know that was a special run. Wasn't that a DLT special factory order or exclusive? But anyway, I like it, and it's rare, and you don't see it as much. You see the Sponto, you see the sexier, some of the sexier blade shapes, but yeah, I like that spear point. I'd love to have one in my collection, but right now I'm not paying that kind of money for anything except for I'm about to spend that kind of money on Nova 2 prototypes, and I'm just not buying expensive folders these days. I'm saving the money for expensive fixed blades right now. That's just my thing. I'm sorry, Jim, could you go back? The Buck 120 is the General. Oh, that's the big one. Yeah, it looks just like the 119. Think they call the Buck 119 the General. That's the special. Yeah, the General is the 120. That's the longer one. They're both cool, but I gotta say, and that longer one was featured in Scream, I think, the 120. I like them both, but for the width of the blade here, let's just put this right here. It's a gathering of eagles under the knife cam, especially when it comes to buoy shaped blades. But for this dimension, what is that? The height, the tallness of the blade. I like this length. When you make it the length of the 120, this is getting very particular. I don't mind a slender long buoy. I just don't want an upswept long slender buoy. A short, i.e., 5.5-inch upswept slender buoy is about as long as I can go. You guys know what I mean because you're all nerds too. I'm sorry. Could you go back, Jim? Hey, Five Door, how's it going, sir? Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Hey, Five Door, just interviewed someone who you have in your collection, and it's an impressive addition to your collection. So you'll see that on Sunday. Pete Davidson, nice to have. Oh, I already said nice to have you. What? I've already talked to you like 3 times now. Pete, it's really a blast talking to you guys. I don't often get to talk knives with fellow enthusiasts. Hey, right back at you. And that's how I kind of joke about it. I say it a lot, but that's why this was started. Well, Jim encouraged me. Jim wanted to do a podcast, and he's like, "You like talking about knives?" And I was like, I don't like talking about knives that much. And somehow my wife got into my brain and said, yes, you do. Maybe you could offload some of that talking about knives to people who want to hear it instead of people who just have to hear it. So that's what we did. So Pete, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing that this is a place. This is a safe place for people who love the edged and the pointy unapologetically. Oh, it's a tool, it's not a weapon or any of that stuff. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Look around you. Look around me. It just doesn't matter. If you like them, you like them. And some people are crazy and they're going to use them for bad things, but we don't because we're good people. That was exhausting, but my logic knows no bounds. All right, I'm going to put this away again because I don't want to cut myself again. And I think I'm going to now get to a pocket check. I wanted to be so cool about that. So I have the Kaiser. Kaiser. Let me start that again. Let me start the whole thing over again. Yes, this is the Pinkerton Ringed Inversion. I showed it off last week. I adore this knife. I've been carrying it a lot since I got it, pretty much every day, except for yesterday. I carried my Hinder XM24 buoy, but this has been in my pocket a lot, and it's nice and light, nice and discreet with the black clip. I love the black tip clip. It also comes in Tuxedo, where the ring or reverse Tuxedo, that sounds dirty, doesn't it? Where the blade and the ring are black and the clip is also black. That is very, very beautiful. As a matter of fact, it is really beautiful in person, and I kind of wish I got this one but this one I did not get that, and this one is very much mine, and especially so because it's numbered 44 just for me, right there behind the pocket catch. And so this is what I ordered. But then when I saw the black one, I was like, oh my God, that is awesome. So we'll talk about that a little bit more coming up here. But I love that texturing on the titanium. It's like an orange peel finish on the titanium. Beautifully shaped blade. Dave, I know you know this blade. He's got one of the prototypes with the green G10. And he's got this one. I'm sure of it. But just a great knife. I'm very, very excited about this. And it really goes back to my roots as a knife carrier. Sorry about that. Carrying for self-defense and unapologetically so. And I've said that twice now, but I guess it needs to be underscored because we have that right. We should have that right, period. By the way, to my brothers and sisters in Texas, I'm behind you. for whatever that's worth. But yeah, we have that right to self-defense, and what a critical tool the knife can be. And carrying this one really takes me back there. Now, when I carry the other inversions without the ring, admittedly, those are a lot more utilitarian. Without the ring, it makes a great EDC knife, actually, great utility knife. With the ring, it's awkward when you're just trying to use it like a regular knife. So this does veer into that territory where it's harder to explain if you're trying to explain it. Next up is the beautiful, non-knife people gush over this, Jack Wolf Knives, Sharpshooter Jack. This in the blue Arctic Storm carbon fiber, with the black titanium anodized bolsters and liners, and that gorgeous Cerakoted blade, or not Cerakoted, PVD, diamond-like deal with the coated blade and the long pull, and it's super sharp, and this amazing pull and walk and talk. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I call it snap if it's a non half stop. That's also called a cam tang. I learned from Rob Bixby. But also walk and talk only on something with a half stop. Anyway, whatever. Sorry about that. Rambling, but look at that carbon fiber. It's just gorgeous. Let me turn this up a little, see if I can get any more. There we go. A little bit of cool light really brings that out. What a great knife. I don't even know what I used it for, but I can see that I used it a little while ago. I have been taking this out a lot, and it has been getting a bit of use, but not, I got to say, not as much as some of the other knives in my pocket. I think I've been a little precious with it, just a little bit precious with it, because it is so nice. But I don't want to mar up the blade too much. But I will get over that. Okay, so next up on me today, and it wasn't on me, it was with me, and it was in my bag, and it was actually locked up all day. But it's this, the Notz buoy. I love this thing. This this also brings emotional support, I gotta say. There's something very supportive about a Notz buoy, close at hand, though it wasn't close at hand. It was locked up in my car. But still, if a duel came up, I could easily access it within 3 minutes if I were running. So, but I don't know. I've just been loving this knife. I've been doing, like, I do my little old man workout in the morning, and oftentimes as a little cool down, I swing one of my buoys around, because I have a little shelf right by where I do all this activity. And this is one of the best. I just love the balance of it. I guess the balance is kind of right in front of the guard, kind of right where they have the name. And it's heavy back here, and it's a long blade, and it just moves around nicely. And I just like this knife a lot. And also, I like to look at myself in the mirror holding it, because I'm like, that Musso buoy looks so cool. Like, and I don't mean like, yes, I do like admiring myself in the mirror with a buoy knife, but it's not that. That's not what I'm talking about. I look at it and I'm like, there have been so many people throughout history who've had knives like this. Here I am standing, just pretending and liking it, or practicing with it for this hypothetical scenario. But for a lot of people, this was what they lived and died by. And it wasn't made by cold steel, but they were tools like this, and they're still so compelling, even though it has no practical place in my life. And if everything goes well, it will continue not to have a practical place in my life. But still, it was nice to have with me today. For some reason, I just had it in my hand. I was like, I'm putting it in my bag. It'll stay in my car, but still. Keith the Knife Freak, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, everybody, or everyone. Bob, how is everyone? Been so busy. Ugh, did pick up the new Kershaw Bel Air. That's a nice one. I really like it, but not as good as the Dolica. The Dolica. I know. That Bel Air though is a beaut. Oh, by the way, I just polished her up. I was going through my I'm trying to do a culling, and of course that's in the never sell category, but I have about 21. I say about 21. It's exactly 21 knives on the bar outside of this room that I know I want to sell. And I'm like, it didn't even make a dent. And I'm like, oh, geez, I got to pick some more. So I'm going to do it. But it's going to be all the cheap stuff that goes first. Where was I? Oh, yes, how I carried that gigantic buoy on me. Also, I had this great Tonto. This was my emotional support knife today. This was much closer at hand than the buoy. And this is a great unzipper with this great serration pattern. I love their serration pattern. I do talk about how I like Spyderco's better, but that's aesthetically. In terms of how these cut, they're finer, but they cut really well. So I think they cut cleaner. And that is better for someone who's going to use this as a utility item. But for someone who wants to make the most grievous wound possible, I think maybe the Spyderco with the higher peaks, that might be worse. But, again, I'm just speculating, so I'm going to be open about that. Hollow ground on the main, and of course, since it's serrated, it's chisel ground. It's a chisel ground edge. So you don't have the edge bevel on this side, except up here at the tip, you do. Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. This is like a CQC 7, kind of the way it's ground. Anyway, that's what I had on me today. What'd you guys have on you? Let me know. I know, dramatic, way overkill. Used the Jack Wolf knife. What did I use that for? Something at lunch. Minimal usage, but still, these all gave me a lot of comfort because I love the design of all of them. You get it. It's nice to be around things that you like, that you admire, that you find beautiful. Some people collect art. I would like to do that too. But this is a little bit more affordable than the kind of art I would want to collect. No bananas taped to the wall in this house. I went to art school and I had my period of time where I thought anything goes. And now I just look and I'm like, thank God I'm not trying to make my living as a fine artist because heaven help him. Anyway, will be Grimsmo Norseman, Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto. So I, yesterday, for the first time in a long time, carried my my 24 buoy, and I love this thing. What a great knife. Microtech Amphibian, speaking of great knives, Spyderco PM2, the Wee Malice, the Axial Shift. That's the out the front, right? The TKL Knives Night Stalker. Oh, CQC. So the CQC, is that thicker than the regular? This is just the regular version. Is that the thicker one? I know he does a thicker one and a different version. He does like 3 versions of this knife. But anyway, the Bastinelli Mako. Yes, what a beautiful design. Olay Warrior Nano and the Karis Bolt V2. So that's your kind of go-to pen, right? And then always with the Grimsmo lately, the Battlefield Pickup Sponto has been featured heavily. We're getting some variability in the fixed blade, the auto, and the Wee Malice is an interesting choice. Not a huge, I'll be honest, not a huge Ferrum Forge fan, though their flipper tabs are awesome. And they have some nice, some knives that I like. Donald Fry, nice to have you here, Donald. First time on the chat. Love your podcast. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Relatively new to knife collecting. New passion is EDC fixed blades. Very nice. Bradford Guardians are my new passion. Okay. Just this very same day, Donald, I was like lurking and looking at Bradford Guardians and marveling at how affordable they can be and how I know how great they are. And I've chatted them up at their booth every year at Blade Show, and I'm always picking them up. And I'm always just not getting their knives, but I think I'm ready now for the horizontal leather sheath. I just don't care. It's legal for me, so I'm starting to be just not caring. Starting to be not caring, whatever that means. But yeah, I'm with you. And also, I saw Steve Price. They have a couple of videos where he's fast drawing a Bradford. I think it's a 4-inch. And yeah, he makes any knife look cool because he's such a badass. But I love the shape of the simple drop point. That's my favorite of their blade shapes. So good obsession. Pete says, if this is a safe place, are you guys going to laugh at me if I carry my dork Operation Stratofighter clip point tonight? No, man. No. Safe place. You know that I'm a big dork, and I got a lot of super tactical knives all around me. No. No judgments. Or I'll pick up a knife like this, like my new Mora Companion, and think like, yeah, this is great. This is great tactical. Look, you can hold it backwards and do Colin. And it's true. It's true. It's like Ed Calderon said, these Mora knives are some of the best fighting knives ever made, and they don't even know it. And certainly don't want to talk about it at Blade Show when you go up and mention it to them. Sword says, yep, another Aussie here carrying a Spyderco Arc today. Nice. With a barbecue knife. Oh, a Station 9 Partisan. Okay. The Partisan and the number 8, the little buoy, the little 5.5-inch. I have a cart open. And I was just about to pull the trigger today. And then I was like, be responsible. Think about other things that you've got coming up that you might need to spend this money on. And so I put it on hold. I'm going to see how I feel tomorrow. But I love that thing. And someone that I really like, I've been following him for years. We all juggle knives. Just did a video on the Partisan where he's hanging out in his woods and just carving with it and doing different stuff with it. What a cool knife. If you don't know, the Partisan by Station 9, who's a great French company who does knives based on different like World War I, World War II, French Resistance, and all sorts of different little knives and implements. I have that knife, and I have this knuckle duster. Well, they do this knife, the Partisan, and it's a 7.5-inch knife, bladed knife, I think, that looks like exactly what it's supposed to look like, which is a kitchen knife or a butcher knife pushed into trench duty in World War I. That's what was happening a lot. In Europe, people had to use what they had. It's not like they were outfitted with sweet trench knives, and they'd take what they'd have, a butcher knife, maybe grind a swedge onto it like they did at Station 9, and take it into the trench. So I gotta say, man, I really admire your choice of fixed blade knives today. So well done, sir. Adrian Fighter 35. Nice to have you here, Adrian. Hello from San Antonio. This is my first knife cast. Right on, USCL. Well, it's really good to have you here from Texas. We were just talking about Texas. I was down there in November. I really love it. My sister loves it too. She's got business she does in Texas. My parents love it. It's just a great place. So anyway, good to have you from there. My wife's cousin moved there not too long ago, and then I think she moved back, but she had reasons. Loyal Group, good to have you here, Loyal Group. Good evening, gents. In regards to things being symmetrical, that's what I prefer. The Bark River Bravo 1.25 over the 1 or the 1.5. For my eyes, the 1.25 looks right. That's interesting. I think on a fixed blade knife, the handle or the blade has to be, for it to look right to me, has to be like a certain percentage. Oftentimes it's like 1.5 inches larger than the handle. I know that's so stupid. That doesn't make any sense. I'm looking around me, and that's not with most of my knives. So, but I know what you mean. There's some sort of golden ratio. I needs me a Natchez Bowie. Hey, Mattisfaction, you do, and anyone who's interested, I know these things, especially about cold steel. If you want to buy a cold steel, especially, well, I know because I've gotten a lot of fixed blades from these guys, either Chicago Knife Works or Midway. They have the best prices, and to my recollection, Midway has the best. And what, for satisfaction, what you want to do is not get the 3V. They have 3V, and then they have this 4034 stainless steel. I think it's a Krupp. It's a cheaper stainless steel, and it's about half the price and inexpensive, 100 and something, like under $200 for this. And, you know, be real, you're not going to use this to baton with, so you don't need the 3V. And if you get in a duel with it, you might chip it on bone, but probably not. They have their heat treat down, so you don't need the expensive one. So you have no excuse not to have this beautiful buoy. And every, well, I shouldn't put it that way. There are other buoys too, but every house needs at least one large buoy, like a house buoy, kind of like a messer in the old days in Europe. In Germany, you know, it's a sword, and you also take care of your wood with it, and you know, defend yourself and do all sorts of stuff with, butcher with it. So yeah, and if you need to justify it to anyone else, you can say all those things. Pete says, I really love the Natchez Bowie, but the cable tang and wood handle on mine make me nervous. I don't get the same feeling with the Trailmaster. Trailmaster also has, well, no, it doesn't have a cable tang, but the Laredo does. And I've seen a lot of abuse tests with the cable tang, and I've done a bit with my Laredo, just in terms of like batoning, and but you know, you can watch other people destroy their knives or try to destroy their knives on YouTube, and see that these things are really, really tough. And Lynn Thompson does not want to put out knives that are going to break. He's, you know, that's a big part of his identity, is putting out knives that don't break. So the cable tang is actually pretty good, and I think it absorbs a lot of the shock. And I believe, you know, that you're going to get in a bigger blade, and I believe that they manufacture them still really well. Hopefully that continues, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I mean, you can tell by the amount of words I've put into talking about the cable tang that you know, I get the trepidation, but I think I feel good about it. I think I feel fine about it. Blade Ogre says, kind of like for the same reason I don't need the 3V. It's like, I'm not going to put this through the paces where the cable tang will fail me. This is strictly home defense, or you know, bear defense. Blade Ogre says, carrying the Clever Girl, blue black, sprint sprint. Oh, manage. Blue black buck, Sprint Ops Pro. What is the Sprint Ops Pro? The blue black buck Sprint Ops Pro, the LT Wright knives Switchback, the half breed knives MILF, the GEC Granddaddy Barlow. That's the bullet knife, right? Ottermesser Beekeeper, Tactile Maverick. That's a nice looking knife too. The Smith and Sons Spur, and the Bastinelli Mako, and the Sleazy Ogre. Interesting. A Bastinelli, just like Will B. He also had a Bastinelli in his staple. I like it. Dave says, carrying the Max Ace Hella folding sickle. Hang on. Carrying the Max Ace Hella folding sickle, which is hella cool, in tie and M390. What is this? What is this magic? I have not seen this. I'm going to have to check this out. Weppy Knife Defense Master 757 by David Chen. I don't know what that is either. The Concept Cosmos by Paul Munko Design. I do know that. Pinkerton Feral Pical Fixie. The Best Tech Keen 2, and the Nightcore MH25 Pro. Very, very nice. Okay. So this Paul Munko Design, and then and then having Northern Knives with us, we're gonna announce. I will announce when the giveaways will be. So the Pinkerton will be 2 weeks hence, and next week will be the Northern Knives giveaway with the beautiful anodized titanium pry bar, anodized and Cerakoted, I think, pry bar, and all the other cool stuff with Lynch. It's a Paul Monco, i.e., a filthy design collaboration with Lynch Clip and Northern Knives. It's a cool little box, and we'll do that giveaway next week, and then we will give away this the week after that. Five Door says, today's carry, the PM2 Emerson Wave version. Oh, I like the way that looks. I'm not always crazy about how the Emerson Wave looks on the Spyderco knives, but I do like it on that one. The GEC 97 large Coke bottle. So does your large Coke bottle, does your 97 have very weak spring tension? That's the one like fatal flaw of mine, and it really is a fatal flaw. It's like such a beautiful knife. My favorite handle, my favorite covers ever. Big size, gorgeous blade, and then just such a soft walk and talk. Adrian says, as a Cold Steel fanboy, I am enjoying this immensely. Well, what else do I have? No, I do have, I think I may have shown all of my cold. Oh, no. All right, this is for you then. Oh, shucks. Right here. If you don't have this, this is great. Now, this and the Frontier buoy by Cold Steel are really great if you want a big buoy and you don't want to maybe spend the money that you would have to spend even for a less expensive Notz. You can get these, and they are 1075, I think, high carbon, both of them, made in India at Windless Cutlery, and they make awesome knives. I like Windless Cutlery. They do all sorts of historical swords, reproductions and different weapons and stuff, and they do a bang up job on these buoys. The only thing I don't like is how they coat the handles. I don't like the material. It's always sort of gummy or sticky or whatever. So on this and on the Wild West buoy, I took isopropyl, just rubbing alcohol, and rubbed it on there, and until nothing came back on the cloth, and you were down to just the stained wood, and that's what this is. And the here, let me put these under the knife cam. That's why we have it right. So here is the Wild West, and here is the 1917 Frontier buoy, and both of those had the handles, I don't want to say stripped, but vigorously cleaned with a rag and rubbing alcohol until this one is super smooth and really, really nice. But it's, it's kind of a very much lighter representation than what it was, or it's a much lighter color than how it was represented in pictures and how it showed up. But all of that was surface and it rubbed off. But man, great blades, and under $150, both of them. I think they're more like the 130 area, 119. I think they're both pretty inexpensive as far as very large, but also extremely capable buoys go. And you say, how do you know they're capable? Well, because when I got both of these and also the Natchez about a year and a half ago, I was into like hacking into wood and stuff outside, and I did that with these, and I'm not so into it anymore. I don't know what I did. I know I roughed up this one a little bit too. But yeah, they're great. Get them. Okay, anyway, Mattisfaction says Kaiser Phoenix. Ooh, nice. The Lynch Northwest Pry Bar. This is what we're talking about with that awesome anodization. Forrest Hanks, and the currently flicking a TW Price Dawn. Ooh, that is, we were talking class. That is class. Christopher Dilzer, nice to have you here. Knives definitely qualify as art, especially the handmade stuff. Okay. I can't avoid this chance to knife-splain to you that it's not art. It's not art. And here, I'll tell you why. And I'm not saying this to be confrontational. I'm just saying I think you're being a little generous, because fine art can only be appreciated. You hang it up, you look at it. These knives back here, all created with great skill and care, and great skill and care and materials and stuff, are handmade. You can still, cut your sausage with it. You can still go camping with it. You can still do knife jobs with them, even though they're artfully done. If they no longer could do knife stuff and they just became like an abstract representation of a knife, then we might be talking about art. But this is just me being a nerd, and I've been thinking about this for so long, and everyone here is sick of hearing it. But that's how I feel about it. But I'm just being a dork. Doug Bull, nice to have you here, Doug. Hi, Bob. Good news. I located a SOG Sidewinder. Very nice. The same as the one I lost. It's on its way. It's like finding an old friend at a great price. That's awesome. It's fun to look on eBay and find old knives. Like I had a knife stolen out of my car from when I lived in Philadelphia, and it was one that my mom got me, and she was so proud that she got me this cool knife, and I was in high school, and it meant a lot to me. And then it disappeared when my car disappeared, and then I saw one just like it at a gun show, and I should have bought it, and I didn't buy it, and I wish I did. Indigenous Iron, nice to have you here, Indigenous Iron. What type of clip screws on securely on both sides of the cold steel Coben? Are those Chicago screws? I think if they're not used on that Coben clip, which I'm not a big fan of, but I understand people say that's a boot clip. I know, I get it, but I believe those are Chicago screws or very much like them. So that's the term I would use if you're going to search online. Craig Vincent, 8010, 8020.5. Serrated Vaquero. Oh man, you're speaking my love language, Craig. The Raja 2, the Buoy Spike appendix carry, the Spyderco Mannix 2 lightweight, just for a change of pace, the Shaman, the Petrified Fish Havrog, the Kaiser Phoenix, the Rough Rider 2181 denim micarta slip joint. Oh, that's a good one. I brought that one with me to Germany. And that was my one slip joint that I had prepared to use as self-defense. I knew how I was going to do it and how I would lock the blade open also. Imperial IMP 14. Okay, so Craig, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm not sure what the Imperial is, but I know there's a knife company called Imperial, and I think that's probably an old slip joint. So I'm saying at 11, you got it. You've got it today. You've got it. Well, I don't know what the Rough Rider 2181 is, but I love Rough Rider, for what they are. Catface Enthusiast. Good to have you here, Catface Enthusiast. I carry an American knife. Wait, AC. An AKC F20 out the front and an Edgemark 469 buoy. Very nice. But wait, what's the AKC? I hate when I can't remember these what the acronyms are for. But very nice. I like out the fronts, and of course, I love it when people carry buoys. We should all carry buoys. Adrian says EDCs are cold steel SR1 light Tonto point. That's a great knife. That's my backpack knife. I always have that knife with me, basically. And a Coben serrated edge. Both are super handy for work. Oh, I bet that Coben, if you've got to cut, I don't know why, but like all of a sudden I'm thinking like cutting big hose or something. You could probably just chew through that with a Coben, because it's pretty thin and it's hollow ground and it's chisel edged and it's serrated. You're just gonna fly through material. Nomadic Adventures, nice to have you here, sir. Long time no see, new knife junkies. Well, Nomadic, you're a staple. You're a friend of the show. Nomadic says, Bob, see you're in your mountain. Wait. Bob, see you're in mountain mode via wife. Oh yeah. That's right. Lars. I am Lars in the winter when I have this. The mountain husband. The more civilized one goes and Winters in Saint Tropez. Pete Davidson says, if you want a low profile, yes, I do. If you want a low profile fighting knife, try any good quality European chef's knife between 6 and 10 inches. Brands like Sabatier have good thickness, sturdy handles, and an edge that cuts like a laser. Yes, and the Sabatiers are, at least they used to be, and I used to have one. Carbon steel, so that you'll get a nice patina on it and it'll look cool and old. And we're kind of going back to the whole Station 9 concept of the trench knives made in World War I from what was available, butcher knives. Christopher Dilzer says, oh God. Yes, Turner CNC did a prototype tactical chef's knife that was really cool. And I just saw that on Instagram. He just showed that off. I don't know if this is an older one and he just posted something, just a new video about it. But picture a chef's knife with a nice wedge at the tip. Very cool. But I got to say, I would love to get that big double-edged buoy he makes. And I mean double-edged like he really sharp, very sharp edge on the swooping swedge. I would love to have that one. Mitchell Warren, nice to have you here, Mitchell. I'm making Mokume jean. What's this? ATM. Wait. Go back, Jim, please. I'm making Mokume ATM. Oh, at the moment. Okay, you're dealing with an old man here. But I've been speaking. I speak with my daughters. So okay, got you. You're making Mokume. So you're just making Mokume. How does that work, man? That's cool. Thank you for doing it. And listen, I like thinking of people sharpening knives and making Mokume now. That's on my list for sure. But doing interesting, fun knife maintenance or just, looking at monitoring the catalog whilst I speak. I actually have a golden knife from the old mining days. That's cool. A golden knife. All right, let me show you guys something and see what you think of this. I showed you the Benny's clip that I dyed the handle of. Triple E EDC, nice to have you here, Triple E. I will try to use my Fenrir's as a butter knife in honor of the Natchez buoy. Oh yeah, very nice way. Fenrir's. What is that? As a butter knife in honor of that Natchez buoy. I'm not sure what that knife is, but I like the cut of your jib, Triple E, because I know what you're getting at. You're going to use some cool, big, arguably fighting knife to spread butter, and I applaud that behavior. Nomadic Adventures, Bob, you lost weight, face 2 inches smaller? What? Yeah, because of the beard? Let's see. So I dyed the Benny's clip micarta. Well, I just recently dyed this micarta. This is the Jack Wolf Knives low drag Jack. Come on, focus. And if you can't tell, this was a very gray, dusty looking black micarta that would not hold on to the oil. I would make it, I'd oil it. I wanted a richer color. I didn't want it to look gray, and it just wasn't working. So I can't see if you can tell here. I did this in maroon. So that is like a deep maroon now, similar to the job I did on the old Benny's clip. And then I had to do it on this one. Now this is my what the hell is this called? Synapse by Vero Engineering. And these were green micarta, but so gray looking, when you have the micarta, just these were natural canvas micarta, but you get the micarta that's just kind of funky. It's just too much epoxy or whatever it is, and you can't get it to take on the color it's supposed to be. Unlike, say, my Chris Reeve knives, Sebenza 21 with black micarta, it came gray as the day is long, and then after 2 days it was black. That was perfect micarta. This I did the same thing. Maroon, it's my favorite color, especially for knife handles. So I did that, and then this is the interesting one. I did this. This is an amber bone handle. Here, the color is not coming through as well as I would like it to, but here it is next to another in this amber bone line here, and by contrast you can see. So yeah, I put this in a shallow boiling pot of dye that was the maroon dye with some indigo dye, so I'm making sort of a purple here. And it took a while. It's bone, and it didn't come out as deep as I wanted it at first, but as a couple of days have gone by, it seems like it's gotten a little bit darker, oddly enough. But next time, if I do this again with bone, I would have the dye be a lot stronger. I think it was maybe diluted. And I would also cover the blades. Now, these are the carbon steel blades, the CV, and I did not cover them. I had a great patina on this master blade, and the other two were polished. Anyway, having all that water for about 20 minutes bubbling up kind of stained the blades, and I flitzed them, and I can't get these little droplets out. So it's fine. They'll patina. But next time I would wrap the blades. You know, they stand like this, and they were in water about this deep. I would wrap them in electrician's tape or something. But it was a sort of, I wanted to see if I could do it, if I could make that bone take on the dye, and I think it looks cool as hell. It's pretty. I really like the bone handles. So to be able to change them a little bit and do that kind of dyeing is it's fun. I like it. It's liberating. Like, I have knives that I feel like just a little bit of dye on the handle, it makes all the difference. Like, this now is way more desirable to me than it was before with the tan micarta, which would look great if it was really nice tan micarta, but with the tan gray epoxy looking micarta. So I feel like this is a very easy alteration, very easy thing to do to put the spark back in, put the spark back in your relationship with that knife. You know, you like this color on me? Yeah, I do. Strangely enough, I want to start carrying you again. So that's what that's all about. You guys ever do this? Do you ever do this? Manscaping with a rusty buoy, says FEMA Camp Etiquette for Dummies. Nice to have you here, man. Yeah, you gotta, every once in a while, just to prove your manliness, you got to do that. You know what? Today I was looking, I was like, I want another big buoy. What could I get? And this is window shopping. We all do this, right? I think, where I have carts open at all the major sites with things that I never intend to buy. But I want to save them in an area where I can look at them or whatever, or maybe I'm just fantasizing. My dad would sometimes go to the Bentley website. He likes Bentleys, but he's never gonna he doesn't want to get them. And he would build his dream Bentley virtually and kind of hang out in it, look at it, look around the interior, and then, okay, I'm done. That's all the Bentley I need. Blade Ogre says, bought several knives at Chicago that could not find any place. Yes, that you can't find any place else. They have an amazing inventory, it seems. And in Chicago, of all places, which is very restrictive, knife and weapons wise. Ketmuk says, today I'm carrying the LT Wright Knives Bandit, a ProTech Malibu, a Jack Wolf Knives Sharpshooter Jack in dark matter glow. How do you like that? I don't have any knives that glow. I frankly never sought them out. But how do you like that? I think that it's really cool that every run he's got a new material he hasn't tried. At one point it was wood, then it was kieranite. Here we have the glow in the dark. I absolutely love that. All right, got to show this off. Okay, Loyal Group says Midway's sporadic 25% off coupon code sales are straight up stupid. They even let you use the code on their sale and clearance stuff. The deals are crazy. Ooh, good. Loyal Group, that's funny because I get advertised to by them a lot. They got my number, and I rarely go there actually. But that's good news to know. I'm gonna go check that out. I would also like to get a sax. from Cold Steel. They make a couple of Saxes. I would really like to have one. They're kind of like Bowie knives, just with a very low slung point. James Moore says, pocket check. BRR Gava by Raphael let's see, Brzeski. I'm going to go with Brzeski. Rafal, not Raphael. Sorry. Let me start this again. Pocket check. Gava by Rafal Brzeski. Contoured and milled blue titanium scales. Ooh, that sounds nice. Beautiful, thin 3.3-inch blade with amazing hand rub. All right, wait. What profile is the blade? We need more. CFW micro click flashlight. Ooh, I like micro when it comes to flashlights, I got to say. But yeah, just let us know that blade shape. I know it's not Tonto, but let us know what that is. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I was contemplating why I'm so broke this month. Oh, so I tabulated my recent knife purchases. Don't do the math. Going back to December 18th, a great day, and I won't tell you why, it amounts to 43 knives. It's official. I'm a blade junkie. All right. So Craig Vincent, I know you like Cold Steel, but what else have you been getting? And also you like Spyderco? So what have you been staying in that realm? That's not an inexpensive realm. I mean, Cold Steel is more cost effective than many in terms of bang for your buck, but still it's not like they're cheap. Maybe a couple of them are, but Craig. Well, look at it this way, Craig. Here's a good justification. You know, and people have been saying this since time immemorial, so I'm not trying to doomcast here, but you know, with the way things are looking right now, you might need barter power in the future, and people will need tools. And by gum, what is a more useful tool than a knife? So the more knives you have, the more barter power you have in a future situation where fiat currency is no longer working. Maybe you don't have gold chips to trade or whatever. So you have the knives. It's a solid good. It's a durable good. That's the word, right? And you could always trade it for food and other things in the future. So if you have to justify that to anyone, just say you're looking out, you're planning for the future. And, you know, most men don't plan very well, or maybe some do, but a lot of guys are accused of not being good planners. Well, you're planning. So there you go. Trent Costello, good to have you here. Trent, K-Bar Eck Folder. Nice. Okay, so I'm interested in a K-Bar Eck fixed blade, the clip point. But we just talked about that Eck Folder here last week when it was announced a couple of weeks ago. How is it? How do you like it? Tell me. It looks cool. It's a long, slender. I knew I had a little bit of beef with the thumb area. It's kind of a high riding out of the, or it's kind of sits proud in a weird way from the handle visually. But tell me how it is actually in hand and to use. Indigenous Iron says, any suggestions on sites to find an Odin Wolf sow catcher with a green handle? Ooh, I got one right over there. All I can find is the orange handle version. Ooh, I got mine on Amazon, Indigenous. They might be out of them right now. I know that like as of maybe last week, I could find the sow catcher green with the single edge blade, which that single edge blade is pretty cool, but I would like it with a different handle, not a symmetrical handle. Symmetrical handle, symmetrical blade. Asymmetrical handle, asymmetrical blade. Asymmetrical blade, symmetrical handle. That would work too. Triple E. Wait, did that make sense? I'm not sure if that made sense, but I don't like the way it looks with that handle. Triple EDC says, today I'm carrying an Emerson EX 100 Po Boy with bog oak and a ProTech Magic 2 no fixie today. So a Po Boy, if you don't know, is in the Emerson world, when you take an Emerson, regular Emerson, which I don't have one right here on hand, but just the black G10 Emerson, and you have someone construct bolsters and haft an entire handle together and make it look like a custom. And they're beautiful. They're guys like, what's his name, Naf? A guy named Naf used to do it, and a guy I still follow. Oh, what's his name? Oh, he does beautiful po' boys. But I love that. I've always kind of wanted to do that, but never have. Because I'm always kind of like, well, after I buy the knife and then do the po' boy, I'm still probably only a third of the way to the cost of a custom. So yeah, it probably actually makes sense money wise for me. X Sailor 007, good to have you here, X Sailor. Hi y'all. Got my quiet carry mark in today. I don't know if I know I don't know that one, but quiet carry, they've just been doing such cool stuff and getting such high accolades from trusted voices. Trent Costello says, you recommend the Laredo or the Natchez? Yes, is my answer. No, I would say overall Laredo. That's the first one I had, and I've had the Laredo for a long time since it came out with the leather sheath, which I wish they would come back with. And it is really, and that's what Lynn Thompson like EDCs. It's really well balanced. And it's not too heavy, and so it's a little bit lighter than the Natchez, and it's a slightly shorter, like an inch shorter, maybe. I mean, but it is great. That's the one I keep. That is the Bowie knife in this house. That if I'm not in this room and I can choose from 20 some odd knives, big knives to go out with, if I had to pick a knife and in other words, the Laredo is the one I keep close at hand. In the most compromising positions, I always have a Laredo Bowie close at hand. So what I'm saying is in the bedroom, we have a Laredo Bowie, and it's there for hands reaching in the window or whatever. But so what I'm trying to say is Laredo, and then get this. Get them both. Five Door says, yep, my 97 has a weak spring. Wah, wah. Great sound that I can one hand open if I'm feeling frisky. That's pretty cool. I mean, that is the knife that I fantasize about. Like, oh, maybe there's like some way I could make that spring tighter. But I have it on good authority. Like, unless you're gonna totally destroy the knife and rebuild it, ain't a chance. Dan Satermo, nice to have you here, sir. Better late than never. Hey, Bob and Jim, and all y'all knife fiends. I mean junkies. Yeah, what's the difference, right? All right, I'm going to show you the knife we're giving away 2 weeks hence. So I got to make sure that, well, I know that Dirk Pinkerton is available 2 weeks hence, so he will be here to give this away. But this is a knife he has donated to us to give away, and it's one of his new. I mean, I showed you mine, and this one I think is enviable because, man, that black blade and the black ring is so cool. This is number 166, serial number 166, and it is a ringed inversion with the tumbled black finish on the blade. Razor freaking sharp. These things are amazing. What is the blade steel? S35 VN, orange peel, deep, not deep, but broad chamfered handled. I'm sorry. Orange peel texture on a broadly chamfered titanium handle, and that broad chamfering, as we've seen on other knives like the off-grid knives, really gives it the feeling of contouring without making it without compromising the grip. It's not going to twist in your hand in any way from being rounded, so you get the best of both worlds. The black ring and the black clip hide very nicely. You just see a little bit of that poking out. I've been carrying this for 2 weeks now, I guess, since I got it, and absolutely love it. And even in a pair of jeans, this is not a deep carry clip. Even in a pair of jeans, it's pretty discreet. You see a little bit of that little bit of that handle. People think you have a karambit. They're gonna think they're getting in a karambit fight, but really they're getting in a pikal fight. And suckers. So I would love, I can't wait to give this away. Actually, I really can. I want this to be mine. And I can't. If I were less mature of an individual, if I were a different stage in my life, I might just cut and run and be like, what is the Knife Junkie? And just take this and close everything down, because I love these inversions so much. And the ringed versions are amazing. And the black blade, I'm just going to say it, it's cooler than my silver colored one, which is super duper cool. Don't get me wrong, but the black, that's cool. Anyway, we're giving that away to anyone. This is not a Patreon thing. This is not a Gentleman Junkie thing. This is to anyone who wants to win it. So we'll have hashtag knife, in the chat, and whoever's lucky enough. I got to do a couple of videos of this knife and hype it up a little bit so we get a big crowd, because not that I don't want all of the stalwarts to have a good chance of getting this, but I feel like this is a knife that needs the exposure. I think Dirk Pinkerton is one of the most talented knife makers and designers out there. And really, I mean both, because his custom fixed blades that I have are like some of the best ever. And yet he's so prolific in terms of production designs. So an impressive guy, also a really nice guy. And I love his eye and his design sense, and how he assimilates knives from different ethnicities and different historical eras into his modern creations. More thumbs up for this, guys. Yeah. Oh, wait, for this, guys? Wait, more thumbs up for this, guys? Yeah, right. More thumbs up, guys. I don't know how to quite say that. More thumbs up for this, guys? Yeah, thumbs up me. Humphrey Chimpton. I am sorry. Humphrey, nice to have you here with us, sir. Been carrying the Artisan Ahab, so smaller than cold steel. I like the Ahab, designed by oh my gosh, brain fart here. Excuse the expression. That's a gross term, because that's just a burp, right? Because it's all up here. But Niche Designs by Nick, and I like the Ahab. I think it's one of his cooler designs. And then he did the egress. I have one of his egresses here. But I like his stuff, and I love his t-shirt too. But nice choice. Cold steel or not, you've got a great knife in hand. And it doesn't have to be big, and it doesn't have to be a cold steel. I just happen to be a fanboy, as people like to say. Doug Bowl says, Bob, is your preference of buoys the traditional Musso or the modern buoys as you shared tonight? There are just something special about the 1830s versions. Okay, a couple of things. So this is what I understand to be a Musso style buoy, with the upsweep and the long and the sort of long slenderizing from the clip to the tip. And then let's see here. I don't know about what the 1917 Frontier buoy is all about. Like, I'm not sure if that's actually based on something real, or if that's just sort of a amalgamation of design cues from history. That I'm pretty sure that Lynn Thompson directed that one, designed that one. And then here's the Western style buoy, where it gets real broad down at the tip, widens out. That's Shane's favorite kind of buoy. Just kidding. And then you've got the upswept, like this, and then variations. So I'm not sure about the question, because like these are all modern productions, but they all seem to be based on historical stuff. Maybe not so much this one. I love the historical stuff. I got to say, I love modern construction though, and modern materials. But I would love to have some historical examples of old buoys, just to have them, and to have them up on this wall. Actually, I have an old Southern style buoy here, but I think that, and my brother got it from somewhere that is reputable to him, but I think someone pulled the wool over their eyes. It's a replica, I'm pretty sure, of of a Macon, Georgia maker. I can't remember his name, but yeah. So my preference is a modern build, but not just a clip point. Like, give me a long 1/4 inch, 10-inch long blade at least, and 1/4 inch wide. That's my favorite. And then this kind of long, slender Musso style, I guess I like the best. I like the fighting style. The Hell's Bells buoy is really cool. Long and slender can be very cool. Loyal Group says many years ago, Tops made the tactical steak knife. I slept on that. I loved that. That was in the days where, oh yeah, sure, just like you can wait, like the Cold Steel Desperado, and I'll never have one of those. Hero Sticks says, late to the party. Hey everyone, Hero Sticks, always good to have you with us. We were just talking buoys here. Nothing new for the Knife Junkie, I guess. Knife Junkie, and not that I'm referring to myself in third person. I was going to say the Knife Junkie podcast, but this is Thursday Night Knives. Speaking of the podcast, I'm really stoked. Next Wednesday, I'm speaking for a second time to an absolute legend of folding tactical folders. First time he was on the show, we were audio only, so it's been forever. And when I say legend, I mean basically the legend of tactical knives. And Edwin knows who I'm talking about, probably, because he's got a couple of this guy's knives, making me jealous. Craig Vincent says, I've been buying and trying out chef's knives lately to see how they stack up with Henkels and Wusthoffs. I really, Two Sons, I think you said, I really like Two Sons. And believe it or not, the $20 Cold Steel 8-incher is a hell of a slicer. I am not surprised. I'm not surprised by that. All right, listen up here, Craig. So you have gotten 43 knives since December 18th. That's less than 2 months. I mean, that's like a month and change, actually. And so that means you've spent a good deal of money on that in that period of time, and no judgment there, certainly. And in that, you've gotten a number of chef's knives. Here's a suggestion. Get a Steve Kalari custom, an SCC Customs or Steve Kalari custom knives. He's known in the knife world as Super Steel Steve, but he has he's a controversial guy, knife snob and all that. But man alive, does he make, well, he's a great guy, but he also makes incredible kitchen knives, and he's a chef, and they are not too costly. He makes them so that his buddies, his chef friends who are not rolling in dough, can buy them. Can you go back to Eugene Krabs real quick? Yeah. So definitely, Craig, buckle down a little bit and buy from an American maker, SCC, and see what you think of his kitchen knives. Steve Kalari Customs. Eugene Krabs, you cracked me up with your comment last week about collecting skulls for the throne of skulls. Hey, sorry I'm late, he says. Well, good to have you here. Nomadic Adventure says, Bob, a nice buoy and coffee be a good gift for you? Yes. Would it be safe to say? Yes, that would be a fantastic gift for me. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully around August, when my birthday's coming up, my daughters will watch this episode, and which they won't, and get to that comment, which they won't, and be, oh, we'll get them buoy and coffee. They know I love knives. They know I love coffee, but those things together might just win the day. Fernando Salome said, got a Midgard's Messer, the Jotun, Big Mama. Gotta say, massive respect might not be the right word. I like that Midgard's Messer exists and does what they do, and they do it very well. I mean, their knives are awesome. I've had 2 here on loan, and then I checked out all their stuff at Blade Show. But to include that giant folder, that's really cool, but not for me. I don't need them in my collection. And I don't even mean that to sound snobby. It's just like, just not for me, but I think it's cool what they do. Eugene Krabs says, any recommendations from Bob or the chat for a good clip point for Kydex. I've heard of I'm sorry. I wrote clip point. I've heard of discrete carry concepts, but unsure what model to get. Yes, discrete carry concepts is my number one choice. I'll show you a couple. I think I have a couple out here. Here's one. This is the one that we have on the Nova One. Here are three of them. All right. So this on the Ruffian. Oh, so sorry, guys. This is about 1.5 inches. That'll fit over an 1.5 inch belt. I frequently don't even go over the belt. I like to go over the 1.5 inch seam on the edge of my pants, usually jeans, and then my belt goes over that. Or you could go over the belt. I just like to have it at a tilt, at an angle. And I find that when you go over a belt, you have to go straight up and down unless you have a really thin belt. So if you go to their website, they have a number of different configurations. But I really like this one. That's the 1.5 inch, and you got 2 screws here. They have different lengths and configurations here too, not just on the clip size. This is the one that we have on the Nova One. I really like this small one because, as I mentioned, I do like to clip it to my pants more than over the belt. And so you don't need all of this just to do that. And it makes it easy to take on and off, in and out of the waistband with a belt already on, because it's not too long. You're not trying to get this all underneath the belt, meaning your hand and everything. And these things, when you put them in and you put it in your waistband at an angle, say, which is it always is for me. I carry this appendix, so it's always like this, and the curve of my belly would be here, my belly button here. But what I'm trying to say is, at that canted angle like this, it stays. These clips, it'll just stay in position. And then lastly, this one is really awesome. And I'm not sure if you can get this from Discreet Carry directly, or if this is a collaboration with Tim Kell and T. Kell Knives. I think that's how this started, but it's a horizontal clip, and it works great. And how I use this one is over the belt and clipping on the inside of the waistband of my pants. And it puts this knife so close, I can wear a t-shirt and it doesn't print. So I would say discreet carry concepts all day long, but I also I like soft loops. That's how I started. And on a few knives, like this knife, this great 302 from Bieber Custom Knives, I would easily have a discreet. I just don't have so many discreet carries that I have them on all of them. So I have a loop. They work fine. I got a bag of these cheap ones that I put on larger fixed blades. Speaking of Bob Terzuola, I wasn't speaking of Bob Terzuola. Here we go. Here's a Bob Terzuola knife I love so much. And these cheaper clips work pretty well too. So you don't have to, these are like $12 a piece, the discreet carry concepts. This, you can get a bag full of them for, I don't know, $20 or whatever it was. And then lastly, I have, I don't have one here. The Ulti clips are not my favorite. I have two or so Ulti clips. Not my favorite. The whole hinging and the thing and they're okay. Just not my favorite. Christopher says, have you looked at the stuff made by Todd Cutler? No, I have not. But what a great name for a knife maker, Todd Cutler. Assuming that he's a knife maker. No, I have not. So yeah, hopefully that helps with the clips. A lot of people like the Tech Locks. Tech Locks, to me, are good for big knives. You want to have this on your belt. A Tech Lock is great. You don't have to take your belt off. You can just slide it on, and it's really secured on there. Tech Lock, you can even alter the width of the opening with a little peg or a little slider thing they put in there. But for EDC fixed blades, I think it puts it way too far out from the body, because the Tech Lock will have it about this far from the belt, all things considered. Then that's too much for a small, discreet fixed blade knife. So if if you're looking to secure a large fixed blade to your belt that you don't care about hiding, yeah, I'd go for a Tech Lock. Hero Stick says, also, anyone have experience with Cobra Tech fixed blades? They have one called the Kingpin that looks interesting. Cobra Tech, so they do the automatics, right? They do some pretty cool stuff. And I got to say, I hate the name Cobra Tech. It just seems cheesy. And I think they even might have a little slight air of cheese. But the knives were really good. I mean, I picked them up. I played with a lot of them at Blade Show, and they seemed sturdy. I got to say, like, out the fronts, it's hard to be impressive with an out the front, I think. They all have blade rattle, a little bit of blade play, except for the G&G Hawk, the deadlocks, which, good luck with that. And if you find one, that's great. And if you spend the money, I'm glad you are, doing so well. But it's unrealistic. So all I'm getting at is Cobra Tech was pretty damn good. Sometimes with their designs, too many notes, too many flourishes, design flourishes. Like, you shouldn't have to try and convince someone. Like this Terzuola Tomashi E is so simple and so beautiful, so compelling. It doesn't have a lot of things to, oh look, and it's got serrations. Oh look, and it's also got this grind and that grind. And no, it's just a simple traditional shape with modern styling, and it's perfection. I love this knife. I don't know where that came from, but Hero Stick says, is the ring removable on the inversion? Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. It is removable. And here, I got to show you some more stuff about this. Sorry, I forgot to mention. With the inversion that we're going to be giving away, the ringed inversion, this was a special, a pre-order, special order from Dirk Pinkerton. So if you didn't get it, you didn't get it. But this is your chance to get it if you like it. But underneath, this is how it ships. So each one is serial numbered, and it comes in a cool little, it looks like a miniature sniper rifle case to me. But here it's got 23 and Dirk Pinkerton's, what do you call it? Logo. I'm not sure what the 23 stands for, but here it's 166. And then you open it up and you got the foam. And then under the foam, you've got a black deep carry pocket clip in case the sculpted titanium pocket clip ain't your bag and you want to go deeper. And then it also has a thumb disc. And he's got it set up so that the thumb disc doesn't sit on top. It nestles into a little nook on top. So I've had it both ways. Of course, I prefer the wave version, but the thumb disc works pretty well. And you can also, with a little bit of effort, use it as a wave. So there you go. You get all of that. All of that and much, much more. And this does come out. I have not taken the ring off, so I'm not sure. I have a feeling there are standoffs that are, I just don't know. Presumably they're standoffs that are a little more decorative than just pylons, but we shall see. I don't know. All right. Oh, okay. So I got some other cool stuff to show. So this is pretty cool. Jock, our good friend Jock from Jock's Knife, I'm sorry, over in England, sent, but he will tell you he's not English. Will sent me some stuff, drop shipped. Basically, I'm going to send this along to him, but I get to check it out. And he sent me a little gift, which was so considerate, so nice. I really appreciate it. I'm going to show you the gift in a second, but this is what he ordered, and this is what I am checking out. And it is the Stump Lifter. You know the Stump Lifter. It's Advanced Knife Bros' long-awaited slip joint design. And if you know Advanced Knife Bro at all, you know he tests knives on a stump in his backyard. So there is the stump as his shield, and in this green bone, and if you know him, he also, not only does he collect and review knives, but he reviews beer. So this is the other tool. I'll show you the main in a second. Is this cap lifter screwdriver with a half stop, and then here we have with a half stop a beautiful hollow ground spear point blade with a swedge and a nice long nail nick. You've got really nice action. This is OEM'd by QSP. Sorry about that. QSP makes great modern slip joints. I have a bunch of them, like the Hedgehog and the knives that are done by traditional pocket knives. Oh God, this thing is really sharp. So this is a collaboration with QSP, who OEM'd it, and Blade HQ, who came to Advanced Knife Bro a number of years back and said, you want to do a special edition or collaboration? And years later, this is what came out. Now, that there's one thing about this, just upon examining it, and I'm going to come over here closer up in the light, and I am seeing a little bit of finish issue here. The fit is great. By the way, look at this. It looks like one piece of steel. Just beautiful hafting. A beautiful hafting on the back. Really nice, gorgeous green dye job on that bone. I'm going to have to get one of these. They come in green and yellow bone and blue something. I don't know. I think I'm going to get the green. Or maybe I'll get the yellow. I don't know. Beautiful dye job on this. I love the bone. I like that you can take it apart, and you can, not that I would, but you can change the, deal with the pivot and stuff. The one issue that I found, though, is finishing on the bone next to the shield is a little, I can't tell if it's the bone itself. You cannot see. I'm pretty sure there's no way you're going to see that, but it looks like they forgot to polish right around the stump here, because everything gets polished and buffed. It's beautifully polished everywhere, but right around the stump. And I'm wondering if that's a characteristic of the piece of bone. It might be, because it seems like more porous piece of bone on this side than on this side. So this side might be easier for taking polish and for taking oils and stuff. Anyway, this is really beautiful. I actually like it a lot more in person than on in pictures. I was considering getting one just to support. I love Advanced Knife Bro. He's a cool guy. I love his channel, and I love slip joints. But I don't know. I was kind of like, eh. But now that I have it in hand, I really like it. I like the small size tool here. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about a small tool with a whole empty well, like the old some of the GECs. I like how when you have a real small tool, the way they will take the spring and fill in that side with the solid piece. But that's not practical, and so they didn't do that, I don't think. But I don't think they didn't do that, and I'm not sure why, but I don't think anyone really does that much. Babbling again. I'm sorry, but beautiful. And look at that sharpening choil and plunge grind. Like, you get some good life out of this. I believe this is 154 cm. That's what it is. I remember seeing the video. 154 cm. How cool. Thank you, Jock, for sending this along and letting me check this out. I really, really appreciate it. Bob, the Musso, if you didn't know, the dimensions is what Bowie carried in the newer Alamo movie. 12-inch length, 2-inch wide blade, and 5-inch handle, and an S-guard. Okay, and a general kind of like curve, right? The whole blade has kind of a curve, right? Like to include the spine. Damn, Bobby, you did a better job on non-production model. What? What? Oh! Just look at the wood handle in that angle. Yeah. Five Door says, "Ha, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little confused at the moment. Ha, I just used the same green stump lifter on 2 Topo Chicos during the show. Great minds or something. Yeah, no doubt. I'm assuming that's a beer. I don't know that beer. But cheers to you. Or maybe it's not a beer. Maybe it's some other delicious beverage. I am allowing myself 2 glasses of wine a day and no sweets. This is my current moratorium. If you know me, if you've known me for any length of time, I'm always giving something up. I'm a man of vices, but I have to manage them, and I'm always letting one, try. Oh, no more. I'm changing my ways. So currently, and I just discovered something cool today I think it's called a Nazarite vow, where you take a vow to God, but it's limited. It's like I'm just gonna stop drinking until I finish this short story, or I'm just gonna start exercising just until I get through this street fight or whatever it is. So Nazarite vow is also a handy thing, I think. It sounds terrible. I don't mean it like that. Okay, so let me show you this real quick. This is the gift that Jock had put in the package when the stump lifter arrived, and he got a lot of cool swag too from Blade HQ, by the way, who I still have not forgiven, but I might have to just to get the stump lifter because it's exclusive there. But then they're back on my list. Okay, but this is a Fred Perrin knife, and Fred Perrin here. I got this Fred Perrin on me right now, the Street Buoy. Love this knife. What a great fighting knife, and what a great I should say what a great self-defense knife. And this is such a signature of him right here. That shape and that using the blade as the guard. I also have this Fred Perrin right here. I got this at Blade Show 2022 when I met Fred Perrin. What a scary and charming guy he was. Really could just kill you 50 different ways with the stuff he has on him or with his bare hands. He showed me some weird little weapons he made. But anyway, so here's another weird little weapon he made. It's Max Knives. He didn't make it, but he designed it. And it comes with this mysterious little piece of paracord on. Mysterious because it's not big enough to put over the head. It's not for neck carry. I think it might be for over the belt drop in the pocket carry. As soon as we're done here tonight, I'm cutting this off and I'm putting it on the back of my work ID to replace the Bastinelli diagnostic I had to stash in a flower pot at Universal Studios, which never was recovered. But check this little guy out. Look at that. Look at this scary little hook. I mean, ugh. And it you stabilize it right here with your finger, and it's so hideable and so just nasty. And I showed my wife, and she's like, "Ew." And we have this bag of oranges. I mean, that was her reaction, and that was kind of my reaction too. It's like just a nasty little. But we have this bag of oranges that I've been trying to eat, but they're just bad, and I hate to throw food away. They're bad oranges. They're kind of dry. They look great, they peel great, and then you bite into it, and you're like, I've been cheated. Anyway, I just took this and just across the bag, and not necessarily going for any oranges, but it went through numerous oranges and through the netting and through a piece of plastic. And I didn't even intend to go that deep. I was just trying to see if I could cut through the net and just snag a little piece of net, and it just zipped right through it. So fantastic little sharp and pokey implement here that's going to go on the back of my work ID that hangs around my neck under my shirt. So it's not like it's out there to be seen, but it's always good to have a little extra edge on you. And that's what this will be. So thank you, Jock. I really appreciate it. And thanks for letting me see this here stump lifter. A very, very cool knife. I got some other cool stuff. Well, let's see. One other thing I want to show, 2 other things I want to show that are new. Bobby Coffee Farm, best coming. Yeah, keep Bowie show the value. front man for tax deductible expenses. I love it. I love it. Bobby Coffee Farm. And that would also mean I get to move away from this urban suburban area. I say urban suburban because it's suburban, but I'm close to urban. And when the golden horde comes pouring out because there are no more, yeah, I'm gonna want to be out on my coffee farm. All right, so this is something I was at. Maybe you saw my. Oh no, you did not see my short because I never posted it, and it's not a short. It was like a 5-minute unboxing. I will post it tomorrow. Of this little sucker here. This is the Swiss Tech keyring tool. Swiss Tech is a company I think only available at Walmart, and they had a sort of a Warncliffe flipper, a fixed blade that looked high design. I didn't see the blade itself, but the whole package, and then this. Now this is, of course, competing with the Victorinox SD Classic. Let me dig it. I have one right here in my bag. On my work keys. Okay, so here's the SD Classic. And then from Victorinox. Everyone knows this great little knife. And then here is the Swiss Tech tool. You can see they're the same length. Let me show you up close. They're the same length here, but different widths. They're close, but this Swiss Tech is a little bit thicker. So this has this clear Celador handle. The Celador is the classic Swiss Army knife handle material. In this case, translucent or transparent blue. And then this has G10. It's peel ply G10. It's pretty grippy, and it's a pretty nice, not bad at all. So let me show you. Before I showed the tool set here, the classic SD, opening up annoyingly towards the key ring, it has the small screwdriver and the nail file, and then it's got the it's got the blade. Again, it's not super practical, but you can hold the keys. And then it's got the scale tools, you know, the tweezers and the toothpick over here. And then on this side, on the back side, it has a pair of nice scissors. I'll leave the scissors out. So this tool has a similar set. It's got a little blade that actually is not bad. I put an edge on the bottom of my coffee cup, or sharpened the edge up a little bit on the bottom of my coffee cup at work. And then it's got a awkward tool. It's got this kind of not so great file. It's a decent screwdriver here, and actually it's got no play to it, whereas the blade does have play. I don't know how that could be, but and then it's got a single line file here that doesn't really file anything, and then on this side it's cross-hatched, and that doesn't really file much either. And then it has these scissors that are just they're all right. They cut receipt paper okay, but by comparison, cheap. You have really nice tweezers on this one. I like them better than the Victorinox tweezers, and they have an angle. And then you have a red toothpick. So what do I think of this? I think that for $11, it's pretty darn good. But I also think that if you have $11 to spend on a keyring tool, you can easily get $21 just by saving twice as long and get the Victorinox, because you'll be happier, even though you've got the annoyance of dealing with the blade going towards the keyring. It's superior in pretty much every way. But this is a cool thing, and it was exciting to see. Honestly, it was exciting to be at Walmart to get, you know, paper towels and the other stuff I was getting, and to go by and see a different brand at the knife counter. And then I had to took forever to get someone to actually open it up. It's so crazy. Our Walmarts, they keep all the knives in the boxes, and then they put the boxes in this display cabinet. It's the most idiotic way to show off knives I've ever seen. Idiotic is the only word for it, and I'm sure that they're good people, but they're idiots. Idiots. Yeah. Okay. So, lastly, a new acquisition here. This is from a guy we just had on the show, Neil Warren of Maximus Knives, and I got a knife from him at the Texas Custom Knife Show, and I got it with my wife in mind. And then she definitely adopted it. I told him about that, and then he said, "Oh, I'll make her one with the Tiffany colored is same color handle you like, but with the Tiffany pins, Tiffany colored pins, and the shinier blade grind." So he made this. It's so beautiful and very reasonably priced. And it wasn't, it's what he charges everyone. It wasn't like a thanks for having me on your podcast friend price. It's just the price of the Mamba. That's this model, and he makes he's got a platinum line where he goes real high end with the materials and stuff, and he's got a bunch of different models, but I love this for EDC. It's a great pocket dropper, and my wife loves it for she takes it with her to New York because she's got to go to New York once every other month or once every month and a half or so for work. And we used to live there, and she says it's changed. It's different. We were there in a golden era, the golden safe time. It was like a wonderland there. And she said not so much these days. Anyway, a very nice, robust tip, great for thrusting, great for discouraging grabbing hands. And so she really likes it. This with the Maximus knives, Kydex, very cool. If you haven't listened to that interview, it's really good. He's a great knife maker, a very interesting guy, and he's a single dad, and he's supporting himself and his special needs son with his career and making knives. And he doesn't mention that. He actually told me that when we were finished. Not that it's, or no, right towards the end of the show. Not that I'm breaking confidence, but he's like, I don't need people to buy knives because I'm doing something that's hard, like being a single father. I need them to buy my knives because they love my knives. And so that's why he doesn't tell that part of the story. But to me, it's so incredibly admirable because it's hard enough being a father when you have an amazing partner in the venture, in a wife, and here he's doing it alone, and the circumstances are not ideal, and it's very impressive. So anyway, love the knife, I love the story, and that's what I love the show about. Man's Man says Nomadic Adventures. Indeed. Craig Vincent says that Swiss Tech was one of the 43. Nice. What do you think of it? It's good. I'm going to do a video about it, and then I will give it to someone I work with. Just throw it on your keychain. You're always asking me for, no, people aren't asking me for knives because I've given them all knives, but you know, Jim's on the other side, like, what about me? Give it to me. Jim, if you want this, it's all yours, sir. He's like, I don't want that. I want the Victorinox. Pete Davidson says, getting my attire ready for work tonight. SOG Pentagon dagger. Oh, yeah, baby. I love that knife. With the serrations on one side, right? The Dark Ops Strato Fighter, a Victorinox Mountaineer Stay Glow scales. Very cool. Spyderco Cricket Nishijin, and the Perrin Knives Bowie XL. Very nice. Talwar 4-inch CTS XHP. What do you do, man? What do you do? I love this. This is a great loadout. I love that SOG Pentagon. That's that dagger. That's probably the coolest boot dagger ever, and you don't hear about it anymore. I guess they probably don't make that anymore. The Pentagon now looks very different. Obviously, they've changed everything. And a lot of that for the positive, I would say. But certain legacy knives, like the Pentagon, like the SOG buoy, like the Tech buoy, like the Pentagon, like the all of those stacked leather ones. Man, I wish they still made those. Hero Stick says, "Love that Maximus Mamba, and props to the single dads. It's a noble honor." No kidding. No kidding. Not only is it hard, but an honor, because a lot of dads, most dads don't end up with the kids. My uncle growing up was one of the rare cases, and in the 70s ended up with the kids. Thank God. Pete Davidson says the Perrin fixed blades are great thin slicers. Don't know about the folders. Yeah, these things, this is so thin and so slicey. It's great. And the folders, I don't know. But Spyderco made the PPT, which is such a cool looking Warren Cliffy knife. Matisfaction says, Bob, if I were to purchase my first badass buoy, which would you recommend? Laredo, Cold Steel, Laredo buoy. Well, okay. We're saying first, you could always go into the stratosphere, high end and stuff like that. You could seek out Bark River Knives. They have a lot of cool buoys and stuff. But for the first, here's what you should do. In my opinion, go to Chicago Knife Works or Midway Blades or Midway Knives, Midway USA, and search Cold Steel Laredo buoy, and then get the 4034 version. That's a Krupp's stainless steel. It's not going to win any records, but you probably don't need much more on your buoy if you're a mild-mannered guy. And skip the 3V, and that way, getting your first buoy knife, which you probably won't use for anything except feelings of security at home, you don't need to go the 3V. That's what I think. So Laredo, get a Laredo. They're so cool. But yeah. Or I'm just going to say this real quick. This might be a little smaller than what people want in a buoy, and maybe a little bit thinner, but I got to say the Cayman XXL is a pretty sweet knife. This is from Off Grid Knives, and I love the low point on the buoy. Not that you're going to be opening boxes or doing your quote unquote utility cuts with this, but I love where it puts the tip on the Cayman XXL. Very cool knife and a great sheath. Doug Bowles says, Bob, I understand that the 3-inch blade is the minimum length if it would be needed in a serious altercation. Would it be appropriate to speak about it? Well, okay. So I think that is true. Of course, you can, if you have a, I have a Warncliffe serrated 3-inch Delica. So the blade is straight. We know that the straight blade is very excellent for slashing, especially deep slashing, taking advantage of the entire cutting edge. That straight edge with the point is ideal. And then having those serrations, really, effective, because if you're going 3 inches, I don't know about depth to reach, heart, and all that stuff. I think that with a 3-inch blade, you're probably, you are so close to that person, and you're not at a stand. It's not like you're standing off by 3 inches and you're that close. You're tussling. You are, you're grappling. If you're using a 3-inch knife to defend your life, you're grappling. You got to be. I can't think of a scenario where you would be able to stand outside and unless you've got exquisite skills. So maybe a folder is not the way to go. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. So a 3-inch blade, yes, but maybe not a 3-inch folder. And when you start going to fixed blades, small fixed blades, that could be very effective in an altercation. then you can look at knives that are even smaller than 3 inches, I think, like the fruit knives and stuff like that. But anyway, I would say 3 inch would, you can hurt people with a lot of stuff. But if you're talking about 3 inches for thrusting, uh, specifically to reach vital targets and stuff like that, I don't really know about that stuff so well. I do remember seeing on that History Channel show, Ultimate Warrior, I think. I remember a Navy SEAL stabbing the shit out of the neck of a one of those ballistic dummies, and he did it with a 3.5 inch cold steel Recon 1 before the 2006 redesign. And he just killed that thing dead. I believed him. He doesn't need more than 3.5 inches. But again, you got to be with a 3-inch knife. You got to be willing to be punching your hand inside of someone's body. Like that. This is how gross and how horrible. Like what we're really talking about is. So 3 inches, I would say, good for slashing. I would say have a straight edge. If you can accelerate the cutting with serrations, I'd say go for it. But all of that being said, like the reality of it is so horrifying that sometimes it's good to really war game it and really think about it, because all the stuff I practice and all of the knives I have are for horrible stuff. So that's why it's a hobby. That's why this is a hobby. Craig Vincent says, I gave the Swiss Tech away within a day. Not because it was bad, because I like to spread knife joy to non-knife folks. Craig, you're a man after my own heart. I love that too. Especially you get the quick fix. You get that quick high, man, that you get from going in and exchanging your hard-earned cash for a knife that you're going to own for, less than 24 hours. You get that high. But then you also get to give it away and look like a great guy, and you're spreading knife joy, and that person will be like, oh, and next time they might end up getting themselves one. Work Tough Gear makes some mean buoys, says Blade Ogre. Yes, they're just so hard to get. They really are. And I say that because just today I've been looking for that V44 that they made, and I've only seen Scab and then one other guy online have, and I think it might be the guy who designed it. I'm not sure, but what a cool buoy that is. Hero Stick says, so many great new fixed blades out there. I think I'm gonna pre-order the Bad Habits MFG Jackal. Oh, is that the Warncliffe? Is that the one that looks kind of like a little like an EDC Viking knife? Matisfaction, good suggestion. I like big knives. I often carry my Espada XL. Ooh, dude. I had no idea. I love it. Man after my own heart, except I don't carry my Espada XL. Every once in a while, it'll end up in my backpack. And Northern Knives, where are all the thumbs up, guys? Support Bob and Jim and the rest of us junkies. Here. Thank you, sir. Doug Bowl says, Bob, have you thought about the Randall Smithsonian Bowie, even though it takes years to buy one? No. I massive respect and stuff, but that is not my favorite buoy. And it's not my favorite Randall either. I'm not crazy about the handle. It's got the sort of the rounded handle, and it's got I'm sure you can probably no, it's the Smithsonian. It's going to look just like that. So I'm not crazy about that knife. I mean, okay, wait. Let me take that all back. I love it, but that's not one that I would seek out. But if someone gave that to me, it would be a prized possession that I would never give away, because it is, all things considered, it is a pretty damn cool buoy. It just doesn't have some of the things that I really look for, like affordability and availability. Greg Vincent says, Bob, I many knives, but no discernible knife. Probably I have many knives, but no discernible knife fighting skills. The 10-ish blades I carry are more likely to become ballistic blunt object standoff weapons. I doubt that, Craig. I doubt that very much. You know which way the point goes, and you can probably draw an X in the air. That's a good place to start. An X and then a horizontal, and then you know that you have thrusts, and then you can use that for more than just beating someone over the head with the pommel. Blade Ogre says DLT has some and go for the hand. Go for their hand and their arms and the things holding the weapons they're trying to kill you with. DLT has some work tough gear knives in stock most of the time. Yep. You have to buy overseas for the others. And the ones that they have are the ones now they're all the ones I've ever experienced, which is only 3, and then a bunch at Blade Show. They're awesome, but some of them are just not in my wheelhouse. Like they have a lot of really great options for campers. I think stuff, really cool outdoors knives for people who do outdoorsy stuff. Of course, I'm more bent towards I love the Puzon Predator Hunter buoy just because it's so big and gnarly, and it reminds me, and it's evocative of the great knife from the great movie. But I'm interested in their Bowie knives, their fighting knives, that kind of thing. The little fighter, I never got, but that was a cool one too. Dan Satermo says, I've given quite a few knives as gifts, maybe too many. Well, why too many? Or you mean you're giving away your own knives now? I'm just glad, Pete says, I'm just glad I managed to get Bagwell. That's right. We've had this conversation. That's right. I've boiled over with envy. Ontario Bagwell Gambler before they disappeared. If I had the money and the means, I would get an Almar Alaskan buoy. I don't know that one. But the Bagwell Gambler is cool. That's the smaller one, right? With the asymmetrical guards. And then of course it's a straight guard, right? And then the Hell's Bells buoy, of course, with the guard that's a U-shaped. Oh, those are so cool. I wish I would really love to have a Bagwell buoy. May he rest in peace. He's one of the guys who started up the with Bill Moran and one other fella started the American Bladesmith Society. Have a Knife Day says, just stop for gas, so stab that like button. Amen. All right. Well, you drive safely and you get where you're going safely. And I can't remember where you mentioned it before, but that was at least an hour ago. How am I supposed to remember things that long ago? All right, guys. I think that's just about going to do it for this edition of the Thursday Night Knives here. I've had a lot of good fortune. I'm looking at it right here. Good fortune in front of me with the knives. I've had a lot of good fortune with other things too. And so I'm just looking around me. I'm very grateful because I have this love for this weird love for these things. And I got some good ones around me. I know you guys do too. Like the Gambler is so fast in the hand, says Pete, just rubbing it in. Matisfaction. Thank you so much. Let us know if you get that Laredo. It'd be cool to see. Doug Bowles says, Bob, I think that sharpening the clip of a buoy can take some strength from the point. Yes, it can. And on the whatchamacallit, on that CNC or on the Turner CNC knife, it looks like that might be an issue. But all the cold steels, they sharpen the clips, but it's a zero edge. So they come like this and it doesn't weaken. I had a conversation about that, but so you can get it sort of sharp, but just not slicing sharp. Night, Uncle Bob. Pete, have a great night. Uncle Bob. I have an Uncle Bob. Blade Ogre, thanks for another great show. Well, Chris, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bob and Jim, night all, and have a great weekend. Thank you to you, sir. You have an awesome weekend. Be sure to join us for Will Zermino of Zermino Knives on Sunday. And then we got 2 great shows next week that we're recording. I'm very much looking forward to both of those. So stay tuned. More great things here to come. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until the next time, people, please don't take dull for an answer.